Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. Today we've got Quadratec employee Mike's 2005 Jeep Wrangler TJ, codenamed Project PearlJ, in the shop for a few more upgrades. Now, up until now, everything we've done has been primarily under the hood with a focus on making the most power we can out of that 4-liter. We've installed that Sprintec supercharger, our new air-raid intake, and our painless performance throttle body. Now, we still have a few more performance goodies that we're going to be installing under the hood, but today we've got new wheels and tires from Fuel Off-Road. Now, before we can fit these larger tires underneath Project PearlJ, well, we're gonna have to make a little bit more room underneath of those fenders. And to do that, we have Teraflex's 3-inch premium suspension system. Now, this kit includes absolutely everything we need to get it installed, including 8 all-new adjustable heavy-duty control arms. We've got our new shocks, sway bar links, all the brackets we need, along with new coil springs. Now, the first thing we're gonna go ahead and do while we're still down on the ground is to go ahead and remove those factory track bar bolts. And we can get Project PearlJ up in the air and get the new suspension installed. So at this point, we've got our rear lower control arms, springs, and shocks all out of the way, and we can go ahead and start bolting on some of the new components. Now, one of the brackets that Teraflex includes in the kit is this rear track bar bracket, which sandwiches and installs right over top the existing track bar bracket on the rear axle, and that's going to raise our mounting point up to help keep that rear axle centered once we have the new springs installed. All right, so at this point, we've got our lower control arms installed and our sway bar links. And now this is normally where we would go ahead and install our upper control arms. But the nice thing about the Teraflex kit is that you not only get lower adjustable control arms, but the upper control arms are adjustable as well. Now, with the lower control arms, the adjustability there is going to let us fine tune the position of our axle within the wheel well. And with the upper adjustable arms, that's going to allow us to fine tune the position of our pinion angle so that we can make sure that all of our drive shaft angles are where they should be to work correctly with our slip yoke eliminator. So at this point, we're going to leave our upper control arms installed until we get the Jeep back down on the ground, sitting on its own weight, because then we can fine tune that pinion angle, make sure that we set our upper arms to the correct length, and we can go ahead and install them at that point. So from here, we're going to go ahead and install our new springs and shocks. And the nice thing about the Teraflex springs is that they've undergone a shot peening process, which not only strengthens the material, it relieves surface stress on here. So it makes sure you've got a spring that's going to be long lasting. It's not going to sag or fatigue over time. So at this point, we're ready to go ahead and get our front lower control arms in. Now, the arms that Teraflex includes in our kit feature their Monster Series heavy-duty rod ends. They're fully interchangeable and completely rebuildable, as well as greasable. Now, industry standard 1.25" rod ends normally feature about 1.5" of thread length, while the Monster Series ends feature a total of 5 inches of thread length for up to 4 inches of adjustment. Now, on the frame side, they feature a factory-style cleveite bushing to help isolate vibrations, while down on the axle side, the steel and urethane end provides up to 30 degrees of misalignment for the highest amount of articulation possible. Now Mike's getting the driver's side finished up. I'm gonna head over to the passenger side. You know, when you're installing new springs or suspension in your Wrangler, well, a lot of times you're gonna get an extended bump stop with that kit, but you can't install the bump stop and then install the spring. It just makes the spring perch too tall. So you actually have to install the bump stop by putting it into the coil spring and then installing them at the same time. Well, the owner of Project PearlJ, Mike, suggested take a screwdriver, put that through our bump stop, then we can put the spring in place. Take the screwdriver out and the bump stop's right where we need it to be. So at this point, we've got our track bar hooked up on the frame side. We're gonna leave it disconnected on the axle side until we get the Jeep back on the ground so we can make sure that our front axle is centered underneath the Jeep. And that means it's time for some wheels and tires. Now for wheels, Mike chose a Fuel Off-Road Trophy. It's a 17 by 8.5 with 4.5 inch back spacing. It's an 8-spoke, strong-looking wheel with a simulated bead lock, and then wrapped around that, we've got Fuel Off-Road's Gripper all-terrain tire. Now the tough 3-ply sidewall should make this tire an excellent choice for our off-road driving, and with the siping in the tread blocks, well, it should give us great traction on the road even during slippery, wet, or icy conditions. So at this point, we went ahead and removed our rear wheel and tire. We set the axle back down on a jack stand at the same height it would be if our tire was still mounted. And we did that really just so we can show you guys a little bit better what we're doing here. Now, we went ahead and removed the rear upper control arm. So now we can go ahead and set the angle for our pinion. And to do that, we're going to be using a floor jack and jacking up on the front of the pinion until it's in line with the drive shaft. Now, it's always a good idea to set that about a degree or two shallow of the drive shaft so that under acceleration, when that pinion tends to kick up a little bit, you're not going to experience any kind of driveline vibrations. Now, once we're happy with the angle of the pinion, we can go ahead and adjust the length of our upper control arms, get those bolted in along with the adjustable track bar in the rear, and that'll take care of the installation of our Teraflex 3-inch Premium Suspension System. Now, if you guys have any questions for us or comments about the install today, you can leave them for us in the comment section below, or you can contact us directly at any of the options you see on the screen. And if you want to find out more and follow along with the build-up of Project PearlJ, well, you can find that over in the employee build-up section of the website. And hey, if you haven't already, you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be sure to catch all of our latest videos. Until next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you guys out on the trail.